Welcome to Storytime at the Rubus, a weekly podcast about the Bonnaroo Music and Arts Festival. I'm your host, Charla.
And I'm Daniel, and we have two guests on for the whole episode this week. I guess you two get to fight over who goes first.
I'm Evan. I'm back for more action. I'm pitch hitting for Maddie because he had a pipe burst over in his house. So hopefully we can get him back.
Yeah, pour one out for Maddie when he does get that pipe fixed.
R.I.P.
I'm Caleb. You might know me online on Reddit as Cocaine Jesus. But you can also call me CJ. That's actually my first and middle initial is CJ, and Cocaine Jesus is CJ, so that kind of works out well. But yeah.
Caleb, I'm so happy that you came back 3 days after it was snorted.
Yeah. Oh yeah, of course.
So we were just talking a little bit before we started recording. And even though you guys are on two different parts of the Eastern Seaboard, you've both been to my house. Evan, I think the next time you're in the Huntsville area, we have to get you over to the Orion Theater. We were talking about that last week with Corey and Brad from C3. But Cocaine Jesus, Caleb, you've been there before. Yeah. You and I saw my morning jacket over there about, what, a year and a half ago?
Yeah. September 22. Yeah.
I
was a little messed up at that show, but it was a great time still. Yeah, the Orion is incredible. Like, honestly, it might be my favorite venue I've ever been to. And
really,
yeah, I love it. It's like it's not too big. You can be in the back row and still have a great view, and the acoustics are great, and it's just a great atmosphere. And it's so easy in and out there. Like I've tell all my friends, like, you need to come. My friends from Ohio, like, they need to come down and see a show there. And I think they all think I'm exaggerating that it's a great venue, but I don't think I am.
Now let's put that in perspective. Like, what are some other well-known venues that you have been to, if that one's your favorite?
I mean, I've been to, the Aragon in Chicago. I've been to Red Rocks.
Wow.
I mean, I've been all over. Like, I try to see shows wherever I can, but yeah, like, those are probably the most famous ones that I've been to. But yeah, I honestly, like, Red Rocks it's a cooler view for sure, but I think overall experience, the Orion's better. Like, hitting the bathrooms, getting drinks, everything is so much easier at the Orion. The view, like, the Red Rocks holds, I think, 1,000 more people than the Orion. But if you're halfway up the stands at Red Rocks, you're still probably twice as far away from the stage as you are in the last row at the Orion. Like, it is.
That's a big deal for you to say that you like the Orion better than Red Rocks. That's wild. Remind me, you may have told me before, but have you been to the Caverns just down the road?
Oh yeah. The Caverns is awesome. Like, I would. Caverns inside the cave might be the only thing that beats it, but that only holds like 1,000 people or 1,200 people, and it's so hard to get tickets to any good shows down there anymore because of how small it is. But
the amphitheater outside holds way more, obviously. Like, it was for pretty lights. That was amazing.
Yeah. Oh, the amphitheater there is cool. It's just like, it's in the middle of nowhere, and I don't think, like, the concert experience is better than the Orion there.
Interesting. Evan, what would you say are a handful of your favorite venues?
Well, it sounds like the Orion is similar to Forest Hill Stadium in Queens out here. I've seen a couple pictures of Orion. I'll probably guess that it's capacity-wise similar. Another one of my favorites is Brooklyn Bowl. I think we talked about that on a previous episode.
Yeah.
Those are probably the first two that come to mind. There's a lot of kind of like interchangeable, like, theaters in the city. And then I love just a good, like, amphitheater, like, with lawn seating in the back for, like, summer shows. There's a couple around here. We have PNC Bank Arts Center, and then there's one up in near Woodstock that I've never actually made it to.
Oh yeah, I actually I think I know the one you're talking about. It's a little east of Buffalo.
Yeah, there's a handful. There's one that's like 2 hours away from me.
Where are you located?
I'm in Jersey City. So,
Oh, okay, Jersey City. Okay,
and then,
no,
but
that's not that one.
there's probably a handful up there too. So, I forget what they're all like bank named stuff. So they always change their names
That's
every
in
couple
Dave
of years.
Bruce's neck of the woods up there. Yeah.
Mhm.
The one that I'm really wanting to go to one of these days is the Hollywood Bowl out in LA, just
Yeah.
because of how historic it is. I don't know, like
Yeah.
the scene and the sound and everything there, but I've seen so many cool moments. What I would really love to see there is a live movie soundtrack. There's this clip that I've seen when they showed E.T. and John Williams was scoring it live. And at the end, I mean, spoiler alert for a 30 or 40-year movie, when E.T. leaves, there's a rainbow that comes behind the spaceship. When they were playing that live, they lit up the backdrop to be a rainbow. And I'm like,
Cool.
that's the most dope, wholesome thing I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Something like
That
that.
sounds awesome. When you said something about a movie soundtrack, I immediately thought of John Williams. Like Coachella had him play there a few years ago, I think. Like
Really?
they had him play a
I missed
set, and
that.
I was like, that would be incredible for Bonnaroo to do.
I know they've
I know
had
Hans Zimmer did.
Oh,
yeah,
it's Hans Zimmer. That's what I was
yeah,
thinking. Yeah.
and they had Danny Elfman last year, the year before
Mhm.
that. I wish Rue could do something like that, but imagine the logistics of getting a full orchestra out to the middle
Yeah.
of Manchester, Tennessee.
They had a full
Yeah.
orchestra at Burning Man,
Oh yeah, that is very true. We saw that.
Yeah.
That's a bunch of
middle of the desert.
yeah, a bunch
Yeah.
of like yuppies with more money than sense, though.
True.
I don't know if you can do that with a bunch of wooks, but I don't know. It's a
Yeah.
really cool wish list thing. Maybe we can put that on the survey that they send out after Rue.
Yeah. Definitely a good idea.
Well, Evan, we are going to jump to our Patreon things here in just a little bit, but do you want to give us any updates on that New York City event that we're going to do here in roughly a month?
Yeah. So, Daniel, you're going to be up in New York working at the Intrepid.
Yeah.
Daniel gave me the idea a couple months ago when he realized he was coming up here to put something together for the Totem Foundation. I found one of my places that I go to a good amount. It's a really awesome Mexican restaurant that definitely has enough room to support us. So it's called La Palapa. It's going to be February 18th from 3 to 6. I think we're going to do just a small presentation and just hang out with whatever concert going like-minded people are around. I've invited a bunch of our friends. If you want to go, you can DM me or any of the Rubus/Totem socials, and we can send you a link to an invite and go from there.
Yeah, I think we have it pinned on Totem FND on Twitter. There is a link to the invite that Evan amazingly set up for us. So you can go ahead and prepay for some drinks and food on there too, right?
Yep.
Yeah, so check that out if you are in the New York area. I know a friend of the show and one of the hosts of another fantastic podcast that you should check out, the Fem Flock, Carrie Yates, and some of her crew is going to be there. I haven't seen her in a year and a half, so I'm looking forward to hanging out with her and hopefully the other hosts of that show as well. I think they just put out episode 1 this past week, so please go check them out. They're awesome. So hopefully we'll get to hang out with them as well. And Evan, you and Skylar are going to help me run this show, right?
You bet. She's got to figure out her way up here, but we're gonna figure it out.
Oh,
And,
give her a shout out. She's looking to move up to the area. She's looking for a place, right?
oh yeah, we are actively looking for an apartment for her. So
If
you got anything?
Yeah. We're gonna just turn this podcast into that. Like, we need some New York City real estate. But thanks, Evan. Yeah, and find that at Totem FND on Twitter. You'll find the link to the EVOT thing that Evan has set up for us. Again, tell us that date one more time, Evan.
February 18th. It's a Sunday from 3 to 6. East Village at a restaurant called La Palapa.
Awesome. Thank you, Evan. Hope to see you all out. All right, we're going to take a quick break so future Daniel and Charla can thank our Patreons, and we will be right back with these guys to answer a bunch of rude questions.
Hey everyone, we'll be right back with Evan and Caleb. But for now, we're going to thank our Patreons. You can find our Patreon at patreon.com/RuBus. All of our Patreon donations go to support the Totem Foundation. The Totem Foundation is our new nonprofit that supports festival scholarships as well as a mentor-mentee program that we have set up. In the future, we hope to do an international program. And you can learn more about all of these endeavors at totemfnd.org. So let's go ahead and get to our Patreons. Amber, Andrea, JB, Sam, Austin, Madeline, James, Chelsea, aka Hygiene Queen, Ryan, Chris, Skylar, Dan, Ernst, Bill, Harris, Keith, Casey, Chloe, Dave, Amanda, Aaron, Nick, Maddie, McFerg, Kent, Randy, Greg, Eric and Ben, Evan, Jay, Chloe, and Sean. Thank you guys so much for supporting us. Again, 100% of those donations go to support the Totem Foundation, and you can find more information at totemfnd.org. Please share that link if you know anyone who wants to go to Bonnaroo on a scholarship this year. We can really use your support of just getting that link out there and getting the word out there about our scholarship program that we're offering.
Hey guys, it's Daniel jumping in here real quick before we go back to the regular episode with Caleb and Evan answering your questions. I saw there was some talk on the Bonnaroo Reddit today about our Wednesday event. By the way, some of you had some kind words about our shows that we've had with Cherub and Flip Turn and Repeat. Thank you so much. That means a lot to us. I just wanted to let you know we are going to have it this year, but we're going to scale it back just a little bit. There's no way that I could top having Cherub, but we're going to have something at the Group Plaza. We haven't announced any details just yet, but we will here in just a few months, so stay tuned. All right, let's go back to Evan and Cocaine Jesus answering your questions.
All right, everybody, we're back with Evan and CJ, or Caleb.
He has many names.
Our Cocaine Jesus.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is there other names that we should know about?
No, that's pretty much it.
Pretty much.
Sorry, that guy I went to the My Morning Jacket show with one time.
Yeah.
That was a good night. All right, let's jump into these questions. We posted a couple of things on Twitter and Reddit, and we got a lot of questions from people that have been just one time, or maybe they're coming for their first time at all. So we got these two guys to help us out. So let's start out, Charlotte. What's the first one there?
Jordan wants to know, can you explain how the pit line works? How do you get in line for the pit?
Ooh, good one. I feel like this is a very important one, too.
Yeah.
You want to take it?
Yeah, I'll go. You go ahead. You want?
Okay. Well, basically, next to the stages, it's been the last 2 years. It's been to the right of both the what and the which. It's only on those stages, not on the tents or at the other stage. There's a line specifically for the pit in front of the stage. Every artist, they clear it out when they're over and clear it out completely. And then they let in the line for the next artist. So the people right in front of the stage are always diehard fans. They're people that are very excited for the band. So you don't get people camping in front of the main stage all day for the headliner. If you want to camp and you want to get up close for the headliner, you get in line for the pit ahead of time. Lines for the headliners do form hours ahead of time sometimes. Some people, like I know Daniel has waited all day for certain bands. I've never done that, but like it depends on the artist. I've never tried to for a headliner though. That's the difference. Like My Morning Jacket last year, me and my friends got in line about 45 minutes before they started, and we got into the pit at the which stage late night. So it's a pretty good system. You do kind of have to ask sometimes if there's multiple lines formed of which one's which. Like, you know, this year with let's say Saturday, it's probably going to be Cagey Elephant into Red Hot Chili Peppers on Saturday night on the what stage. And so there's probably going to be a line for Cagey Elephant and then also a line for the Chili Peppers. So if you're trying to get into one or the other, like make sure you're in the right one. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Anything else I missed?
Nope, I think you covered it there. I was just going to say you just have to figure out which one's the right line, And on Saturday, if KG Elephant is going into Chili Peppers, a lot of people a lot of them are going to be dressed the same, so it's going to be hard to tell the difference.
Evan, that makes me think of last year when it was very clear who was waiting for the Foo Fighters and who was waiting for Paramore.
Exactly.
Yeah.
All the girls with bleached hair with the bleached tips was
I mean, hey,
pretty
they
funny.
could have gone either way. We don't want to, but still, you can walk into there and you can kind of tell without having to ask too many people, like, oh, this is Foo Fighters and this is Paramore.
Yeah.
But that is one thing that I will say that I wish Rue would do a little bit better is finding a way to manage multiple lines, because it inevitably happens for like the headliner and the pre-headliner. I remember years ago, back in, I guess, 2019, there was a clash of two camps between Post Malone and Odessa, the people that were waiting in the pit for each one. I don't know what was in the air that night, but it got a little sketchy. Usually you don't see that at Rue. Maybe it was the bees over there on that side. I don't know. But that's something that you do have to watch out for. And I'll add a little bit onto what Caleb said. Sometimes you can walk in, because you were talking about that My Morning Jacket pit. I just showed up about 20 minutes after they started playing. And I don't know if you saw me in my stupid totem, but I just waltzed right in there, dude, for like 5 or 6 songs or something like that. It was no problem.
Yeah, that, like, last year, some of the sets, it was easy to get in, even though it was a sold out year. Like, there were some pits that you could walk into halfway through the set, and they just were like, yeah, it's fine as long as you can fit. Like, go on. But I don't know. 2022, pretty much any set you could get into the pit for, because the crowd was so small.
You know, I suspect, and I could be wrong, but I suspect a lot of people, especially a lot of new Ruvians, don't understand that anyone can go into the pit.
Yeah, it's not a VIP thing. Anybody can do it.
You know, I've seen that question asked a lot before, and I'll see people just not understanding they can go in there. So it's not a VIP thing. It is open to everyone.
One other thing we should probably clarify, and Caleb, forgive me if you did say this, there are only pits at What and Which. They don't have them. Yeah, they don't have them at the tents or anywhere else. Yeah, you did say that. Yeah. Evan, let me ask you this. Like, what's the longest you waited for a pit? And have there been any that you just walked in for, like I did with My Morning Jacket?
Yeah, the Foo last year was the most I ever even considered waiting for a pit. A lot of people don't know how it works, and a lot of people, I think, can easily settle in the middle of the field of Which or What and say this is a fine. So you do it's, even though you're not waiting, you do have to really try hard to work your way up there and know where you're going. So it's still not the easiest thing in the world, even just getting up to that point, because you're going to have to hop over people and that kind of thing.
A lot of it come down to what the scene is once you get there, and that's just impossible to plan for.
Yeah. I mean, just going off of, I've gotten really lucky with a couple years waltzing into some pits for Chili Peppers. In 2016, there was like a rain delay for Pearl Jam.
Oh, yeah.
It caused so much chaos that if you got back there in time, you were able to get right in. So Foo Fighters last year was the only day I ever designated kind of was a full pit day.
I think the longest we ever waited was for U2 back in 2017. I got in line about like 3 o'clock or something like that. Still worth it. Loved it.
I was able to get into the pit for U2. I think maybe was settling up right after the show, right before that.
That was a wild night, man. All right, Charlotte, let's hit up the next question here.
Okay, Harris wants to know, first time RVer here. What are the tips and tricks with RV camping? So I guess that'd be more of a question for us.
Is it? Yeah.
Yeah.
So prior to being in the group plaza, we had the Rue bus, and before that, an old RV.
And then an even older RV.
Oh, yeah. Well, it was a trailer. But anyways, yes. Charlie and I have spent all of our years at Bonnaroo but one in RV or group. When we were in RV, I'll tell you this, you get a very large space. That's one thing that you are paying for. So you're probably going to get twice as much square footage than you even really need.
Yeah.
So you have kind of like a little front yard there where you can put up decorations and chairs and everything.
Or an extra tent.
We have done that. One thing that I will tell you is the vibe in RV can be different. It's still a party, but is not as much of a rowdy party.
It really depends on your neighbors.
Yeah.
But typically tends to be a little bit quieter in RV from my experience, from
Well,
our experience.
quiet is relative because there will be a lot of generators
Right,
running.
right. Well, quiet as far as parties.
Yeah. But it's kind of like a white noise. It never really has bothered me, to be honest.
No.
You will have probably a shorter walk. You know, if you show up early these days, you can be parked close to the arch, but you're kind of guaranteeing yourself at least somewhat of a shorter walk if
Right.
you're in the RV area. Now that has changed a little bit because it goes way back there nowadays.
Mhm.
And something I will say, and Rue may not like me saying this, I would not pay extra for the power. I would borrow a generator from somebody before you did that because it has gotten ridiculously
Oh,
expensive.
it's gotten very, very, very expensive from what it used to be. I don't think we ever paid for that when we had an RV, but
No, we did. We did. We never paid for the powered one.
the powered one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're right about that. But yeah, it has gotten pretty excessive. So I would personally recommend that and beg, borrow, or not really steal, borrow a generator. It is worth it for that. You two, have you visited anybody in RV? Would you have any suggestions about things to bring, what to do?
I've one of my good friends, Jeff Sliv, has been there for the past 2 years in RV. I was just partying over there with them. Yeah, he did his bachelor party there a couple years ago. But I didn't really learn any lessons from that particularly. But I would say if you're not an RV owner in general, I would familiarize yourself and do as much research as you can. There's a lot of logistics involved with it because you have to worry about your gray water, your black water, your power situation. And I think I've never had to deal with this personally, but I think that there's different trucks that come by every day that provide different services for the RVs. So I think you have to have cash on hand for that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So
We've never dealt with
I would do as much research as possible, just seeing what services you are inevitably going to need while you're there for emptying tanks and that kind of thing.
Oh, absolutely. That's a very, very, very good point.
Yeah,
See,
thanks.
we never dealt with that because our first RV didn't even have a bathroom. And then the second one, I don't even think the plumbing worked because it was RV.
It's definitely not in the Rubus.
And the road bus doesn't have a bathroom. So we never dealt with any of that. But if you don't own the RV and you're not familiar with it, get familiar with one before you bring it to Bonnaroo.
Yeah.
Number one.
If you're renting one, and a lot of people rent them from Bankston here in town in Huntsville because
Mhm.
it's just an hour away. Talk with the people before you
Right.
leave. Like, hey,
Right.
give me a tour. What do I need to know? What should I not do in this thing? Because they're going to tell you. And if you're going and you've never dealt with one of those things before, you don't want to show up to Rue clueless about it.
Right. Exactly. I actually know someone that took an RV to Bonnaroo and used up all their water on the very first day taking showers because they just didn't know how it worked, and like their air conditioner, everything was just gone in the first day because they were just clueless about RVs. So
ask me about that story
Yeah.
offline sometime. That goes for anybody.
but I mean, got to know about them, how to use them. So
I will add the one thing is if you are new to RVs, like especially if you are bringing a generator, make sure you properly ventilate the generator
Yes,
away
thank
from
you.
yours and other people's campsites because people have died at festivals from carbon monoxide poisoning from generators. I think in 2019 in Michigan, there was a country music festival that in one RV, I think 4 or 5 guys all in this, they were all staying together, went up, I think it was a bachelor party or something, and staying in an RV, and they all died in their sleep from carbon monoxide poisoning because of their neighbor. I think it was their neighbor's generator leaking in, basically going straight into their fresh air
That sucks.
intake into their RV. So
it was a few years ago at Bonnaroo. I remember like some EMTs or something had to be pulled out from carbon monoxide.
Yeah.
But that was actually one of the questions on Reddit, something about where to point the RV generator or something. So definitely point it away from your neighbors.
Yeah.
And if you do bring an RV generator, usually what we would do is we would run it during the hottest parts of the day to cool everything down. And then when we came back at night, we would run it then to get it real cool in the RV or the camper and just get everything cool. So that's the only time we would really run it. So just point it away and don't point it toward any tents and you'll be okay.
Yeah. If you've got an RV with like one built in, you don't really have to worry about that. But like if you're bringing your own, like look and see where the exhaust is going. You want it away from where anybody is going to be at. I mean, we've gone over that ad nauseum, but it's so important because like you mentioned,
People
Caleb.
don't think.
Yeah, get somebody killed if you're not careful. All right. Anything else on RV before we go to the next one? I think we kind of got that. All right. Next one, Charlotte.
Okay. This is a good one. Bay wants to know, what are your favorite hidden gems around the farm?
I love this. This is a fun one.
Yeah, I like this.
Evan, you take this one first. I know you go all over the place. You know some good ones.
Yeah, so this off the top of my head, I would check out, go to look at the campground schedules for every day. This past year they had like Devin Gilfillian and JP Sachs, which were larger names, I would say, playing in the Pod 2 campgrounds, just in the barn there. But I think Haley Williams a couple years ago had some events. My friend Christy got to meet her. So I would say pay attention to the campground events, because when you start looking at that schedule, it can look overwhelming. But if you pay a lot of attention to who's around and what's available, you can find some hidden gems in there, I think.
Caleb, how about you?
So the two that came to mind for me is it's not neither one would I necessarily call like a true hidden gem. They're both well known, but just I recommend them to everyone. Well, the one I would maybe classify it as a hidden gem is We're in the Woods, but during the day, like when they don't have music going on, is a great place to go chill out in the shade. Like find a hammock, because they do put up some hammocks, or bring your own, put it up between two trees, and like it's a great way to take a late morning or early afternoon nap. Me and my friends have done that a lot, especially in 22 when it was like scorching hot. On Wednesday and Thursday, we pretty much spent all afternoon there, and it was great. It was fantastic, like so relaxing. The other one is at the House of Yes on Wednesday and Thursday night every year. They host what they call, I think it's called the Dirty Circus.
Yes.
It's awesome. Like I don't think enough people know about it, even though it is always packed. Like if you go, try to go early and get a good spot to see, because the barn overflows with people. But yeah, it's basically like a drag variety show for an hour or 2 hours. They have all these different performers, all these different people from the LGBTQ community that come in, and there's all sorts of different acts. Sometimes they pull people from the crowd to participate. It's wild. Like you'll see all sorts of things. Really, really impressive. Like they're extremely talented performers, and it's a good time. Me and my friends, we have gone each of the last 2 years on Wednesday night, and like I think that's going to be our plan every Wednesday going forward, is go and try to catch that, because it's just such a good time.
Man, we love that place so much. It's not too bad a walk from the group area. Maybe about what, Evan, about 15-minute walk away. So
Or less, yeah.
Yeah, we're up there quite a bit. I mean, you can go up there any hour and find something crazy to do, but that's a good call too, Caleb. Any others you can think of?
I'll say some hidden gems are just hidden, and now that we have Tuesday and Wednesday to walk around all we want, that you can find and stumble upon different groups and just meet some new friends. And there's plenty to do even before the scheduling starts, so you could find your own hidden gem.
One that I wanted to point out was kind of sort of new last year. There's this spot called the Rest Stop. So it's kind of like a short walk away from We're in the Woods at Plaza 2. And full transparency, I had to look up the map because I can never remember plaza names. And I'm also a little biased because they put NASA stuff over there. But it was this cool place that it seemed that they had just carved out kind of in the woods over there, where they had like yoga and places where you could like actually learn about stuff. I really like that they lean into that kind of thing more so these days. That's probably my top hidden gem from last year, because I had never been over in that area.
I was actually going to say that.
You were going to say the same thing?
Yes, because it was so cool, and we just kind of stumbled upon it, and it was they had a little portion of it over there that was sort of like a New Grove area over there, but it was really, really deep hidden over there in a shaded wooded area, and I had never thought before, so I know it had to be new. And there was literally like there was almost no one over there, and it was just really, really cool, like chill out spot over there.
One other thing that I wanted to point out that I'm not sure that a lot of people know about. So put on your memory hats for this one, because when you come in that gate on Bushy Branch Road, there's kind of like a barn. There's a silo next to it, kind of behind that cell phone tower. If you were able to sneak a peek inside that barn, it is a Bonnaroo graveyard in there. If they haven't burned all this stuff in a giant brush pile, you can see like the old bobbleheads.
The mailbox,
the mailbox. They store things in the off season. I think last I knew, Mr. T was in there. We talked about this on the last episode when we interviewed those guys. They were thinking about doing a room museum, but if you want to see things that are probably going to get thrown out that have a little bit of Bonnaroo history to them, just sneak a peek or walk back there one night and you'll see some weird stuff, man. If you're new, you won't know what any of that stuff is, but if you've been going for many times,
I think it's in a gated area.
Is it?
You can go back there.
You can kind of sort of see.
You can see it if you look, if you peek your head out the window,
but
car window.
One of my hidden gems I don't think a lot of people know about. All right, any others that you guys would point out before we move on?
That's all I got, I think.
Yeah, none that I can think of right now.
All right. How about this next one, Charles? These are from Reddit.
Okay, so I see this question all the time on Reddit, and I don't think there's a good answer for it, but I'm going to read it.
We'll try.
Well, there's not a perfect answer for it, so let me say that. All right. Has anyone gotten away with a Class B, like a Sprinter van, in the primitive car camping area?
They say that they don't need electric or water hookups. They just want to be next to their friends. You guys want to take a whack at this one? I think I have an answer for it.
I have an answer, but
I've in 2019 I had someone camp next to me actually with almost that exact vehicle, I think. So it might be at the discretion of who's letting you in. So that's probably, I wouldn't bet on it, and I might want to have an extra $700 left over for an RV pass at the gate if you need one. But I think if you're kind enough, they'll probably let you in with it. Don't quote me on that, but
no, that's kind of what I'm going to say.
Yeah.
Caleb, how about you?
Yeah, I mean, I've definitely seen people get camper vans in there, but like if it's actually a Class B, then sometimes like I know I think it was a Bonnaroo email response last year to someone that they shared on Reddit that said Bonnaroo basically said like if you have like a gray water tank, if you have it, bathroom facilities in your camper van, then it's an RV, and that like if they find that like they can't allow you to go into regular camping because I think they've had problems with people dumping gray water in the past and stuff. And
geez,
that's
so
okay, I'm gonna try to look for that then on Reddit. Okay.
Yeah,
okay,
I think it was a comment on a thread, so it would be probably hard to find, but I remember reading something about that. So
well, I mean, basically my answer was going to be pretty much the same as, both of yours, because, we see that question so often, and it's basically the discretion of the person letting you in. I mean, essentially.
Yeah. I'll add on top of that come in with a very Bonnaroo positive attitude, maybe have some little trinkets or gifts that you give your volunteer. That will probably go a long way. And that goes for any situation, whether it's one of these like small vans, or if you've got somebody that is tagging along with you in a vehicle behind you. Like there's a lot of different scenarios in which you need to just charm your way into something. Come in with a smile, joke around, give them some gifts. That'll probably make a volunteer a little bit more inclined to help you out with something that kind of bends the rules a little bit.
I mean, we've seen them in primitive and GA before, in regular GA camping, but now based on what Caleb said that he read,
that's a good point.
Probably not. Technically no, but then again, you might get there and be able, so I don't want to say yes you can.
Yeah. So yeah, we don't have a good answer for that.
That's not a good answer. Yeah.
Nobody ever will. It's going to be kind of luck of the draw, but come in, be positive. Your chances will be pretty good, I feel like. There's a number of questions on Reddit about daily entry and stuff like that. So can you guys explain a little bit the new daily entry system that has come into play the past couple of years and how it affects a couple of the different tiers?
The daily entry system for GA, like GA camping.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you get a pass where you pick each day. So the options are like Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and beyond now. And then that helps Bonnaroo know which days people are coming so they can accommodate us properly. And so I think they can accommodate the traffic properly as well. So stick to your day. I think they're very lenient if you email them beforehand. If you need to come on Wednesday and you have Tuesday pass or vice versa or whatever, just send them an email. They'll eventually get it worked out. I think with the tiering process that's new this year, you're going to want to buy your pass as early as possible because you will just purely save money based on that. So I'll say if you just do a thorough job reading up on it, I don't think it's terribly complicated. You just have to follow the directions that they give you.
Yeah, the only thing I would add is just for anyone that's unfamiliar, they do with GA camping, they fill from the arch outwards. So if you come earlier in the week on Tuesday, you're going to be a lot closer than if you come Thursday or later. Wednesday, you're going to be in somewhere in the middle. Like me and my group, the last 2 years, we've come in on Tuesday afternoon. And this past year, we were maybe a 5-minute walk from the arch and like a 2-minute walk from Plaza 3. It was really, really nice. We loved our camping spot. Like it was kind of perfect. Like we were close enough to Centeroo, but not like right outside the gate where you get all the high traffic areas. And then I've talked to people who have come on Thursday who have been, a 35, 40-minute walk out to what we call BFE. Yeah. And that could wear you out. Like I'm always a big advocate for coming as early as possible. You get more time on the farm, more time to explore the campgrounds. Like Evan mentioned earlier, like going around on the campgrounds on Tuesday, finding your own hidden gems. Like you can get that all out of the way, and then when Centeroo opens on Thursday, you can spend all your time in Centeroo and not feel like you missed out on anything in the campgrounds.
Yeah, totally agree. And the other big reason, like you mentioned, like not only you're going to get more time to fool around the campgrounds, meet new friends and stuff like that, but if you haven't been, I can't stress this enough. It can be a long ass walk from the other side of Bushy Branch if you come in as late as like even Wednesday afternoon sometimes if it's a full year. It will wear you out and you will have less energy to root, honestly. You won't be able to stay up as late. You're going to get tired. It can just make for a rough time. So more days at Rue sounds like it could be more exhausting, but honestly, you're going to be chilling at your campsite a lot of those days with new friends and going to plazas and coming to see us at the group plaza and stuff like this.
Yeah.
The further you are away, also, the more you can't shuttle yourself back and forth as much. So when I've been far away, you have to basically pick a time that you're going to go in, and you're going to be into Centeroo until your last show. If you're closer, you have the luxury of popping in and out a lot more, and that changes your dynamic significantly.
Evan, you just made me think of a question. I didn't see this in our list, but it's been a question I've had over the years, and I've seen other people talk about this. When, if ever, does Centeroo actually close?
So once it opens on Thursday at noon, it closes when the headliner ends on Sunday. I think the website in their help section even says that about Centeroo hours. Like they close off the main portion of the What's Safe field after the headliners each night, and then reopen them at like noon each day. But the rest of Centeroo is completely open.
The other technical answer is if there is lightning or high winds.
Yes.
I've talked to the guys that run Rue, and they've had this like running joke and bet that technically it is possible for somebody to just enter Centeroo on Thursday and stay the entire time until Sunday night. Maybe they can just look like they're napping under a tree or something. They don't know if anybody has ever actually done it, but they want to know. I don't think anybody would be in trouble. They would just have their utmost respect for it.
I've seen some people mention, like, I don't know if they had done it, or I know I've seen people mention trying it, like last year with the one-day tickets. That I saw some people talking about online, like So what's going to stop me from just buying a Thursday pass and then getting in and just staying there? And I do know that like sometimes in the mornings, if people are sleeping around in Centeroo, like someone's laying under a tree sleeping, I know that security and stuff will like check on them and make a move if they think that they're just like camping there. But yeah, that's I'm sure there's a Wook who's done it before. Like it's gotta have, it has to have happened.
I want to meet him. I want to meet him. All right, guys. I think we got two more here. Charlie, you want to ask about this one?
This is a good one.
Yeah.
What's the deal with commerce slash barter slash trading in Outer Route?
So the thing that this made me think of was Shakedown Street on Bushy Branch. I think people get away with a little bit more there, but there's always people trying to do their like side hustle out in the camps. Have you guys seen this? Like, what have been your thoughts on this?
You go ahead, Caleb.
So I definitely see it every year in GA camping. Like our group has had probably 2 to 4 people come by trying to sell stuff, whether it be Bud Light or T-shirts, like just fake T-shirts that they made that are Bonnaroo themed. I've seen pashminas. I've seen like all sorts of things. Tapestries trying to be sold. Like, yeah, people will just walk around with backpacks full of stuff. I do know that if you are caught by any event staff or security, like I don't think there's any like leeway at all. It's like, oh, you're selling stuff? Okay, come with us. They'll escort you off the grounds and they'll cut off your wristband and that'll be it. But I know like if you're not an official vendor, you don't pay the fees. You're not allowed to do that. So.
Evan, you got any thoughts on it?
Yeah, I don't have really much to add to that.
I will say in my experience, I've noticed that if people are just doing like little doodads or something like that, or just something on the side, not make it obvious, nobody cares. It's when you're doing stuff in bulk that it becomes a problem. What about you, What have you seen?
Well, I thought the question was asking about like trading candy and stuff.
Oh, that? No,
yeah.
Oh, yeah. Everyone does that.
Everybody does that. Yeah. Look, I'll give everybody a tip. Bring a lot of something, just little things. So again, I'll shout out our buddy Mitchell in Atlanta that does this. He does this cool thing where he buys like in bulk Pokemon Slowpoke cards. So if somebody doesn't get his joke, he gives them one of those. And he brings those little Lego shovels. So he'll be like, hey man, I dig you. And he gives those out. Mine has been, I get like those little army men, but they're astronauts, and I'll give it to somebody. I found on Amazon where you can buy like a whole bin of them. 100 pieces for $20. So I would definitely recommend that. I think that's one of the coolest things you can do at Root. Yeah. The little gifting, just little trinkets. It doesn't necessarily have to be like the candy bracelets. Do something that's unique to you,
Yeah, me and my group every year we make custom silicone wristbands that have a different Bonnaroo related phrase to it. Yeah, and we give those out. We usually bring at least 300 of them to just give away as gifts and trade with people.
It's always fun to empty your pockets every morning and see what you came up with.
Yeah, you empty your pockets in the morning like, what the hell is this?
Yeah, I mean, like a month ago when I went back to Ohio for Christmas, and I used a bag that I hadn't used since Bonnaroo, and I opened up a zipper and found a couple things I forgot about. So
one of my favorites is last year, JB, our buddy in our group camp, who's been on the podcast a number of times, he made a lot of little candy wristbands for very, very specific occasions. He made one about the bees on that side of the stage. There was a lot. I don't want to steal his thunder. I'll just let him tell about it sometime. He's already planning out some for this year. He doesn't make them for like Red Hot Chili Peppers or whatever. He makes it for silly things that will happen. And he just produces it when it happens. And you're just like, that's the most amazing thing. He's very clever about it. All right. Got one more question for you guys. This is a common thing that came up on the main Reddit FAQ. There's a lot of people that are on the fence about buying tickets right now. Maybe they don't know about their plans. Maybe they don't know about their budget. And they were asking about buying it secondhand from something like StubHub or SeatGeek, like a week or so before we actually go to the farm. So I wondered if either of you had any, I know you don't necessarily have experience with that, but would you have any advice about that?
I would say you should, every year is different, so it's hard to give you particular advice. If it sells out early, I would say that's generally a sign that there's going to be a lot less secondhand ticket availability for at least a discounted price. If there's a lower turnout year, like 2022, for example, you could get a lot of stuff for below face value leading up to the festival. So I would say just keep your eyes on the market and see kind of what's available, and you can probably extrapolate what's going to be available going up to the festival. I think if in general, if you budget $300 for a ticket, you could probably find one somewhere. And then the sooner the better, because you have to account for shipping and all that, and if you're not buying something locally.
Yeah, if it gets within a month, I would not do anything like that, like a secondhand ticket, because there's a chance you won't get it. That would suck. Caleb, how about you? You got any advice on that
Yeah.
situation?
Yeah, so for a festival, I've never bought one from like a third party website. I've used the like Ticketmaster official exchange for Shaky Knees in 2022. And that was convenient because I just went to I bought it literally the day I was going, and I was able to just go up to the box office and pick up my wristband because it was official. Third party, like you said, like it is you got to account for shipping, and you're relying on some random person to do it. I've bought tickets for just regular concerts off of third party websites and then had them never actually send them to me. And that's always a pain because then I had to call like StubHub and be on the phone with them for a while until they got it fixed and got someone else to send me their tickets, basically. But yeah, like you're definitely taking some risks there. I will say so many people every single year, it's more and more try to avoid all the fees from those third party sites and from the official resale sites and buy directly from someone on Reddit or on Twitter or Facebook or Craigslist. And
Yeah.
so many people get scammed. I would say probably at least 95% of the posts you see online are going to be scammers. Like it's a major problem. So if you're going to go that route, only do it if they use PayPal goods and services. And scammers will tell you like, oh, my account, like it won't let me in right now for some reason. They'll use any excuse they can. They'll be like, oh, well, you send me part of the money and then I'll mail you the wristband, and then you're just never going to hear from them again. Like if they can get $20 off of you, they will. So just avoid that as much as possible.
Something else
I would say just spending an extra $50 might be worth the peace of mind.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Plus, you'll get the extra goodies that they send out probably too.
Yeah.
You get it direct. Something else that I'll point out, if somebody absolutely has to go that route, if you want to try to save money and get it from a third party site, is look up cash or trade instead of like those other spots, because that is usually way more reliable. I don't think I've ever heard a story at all of anybody getting scammed on cash or trade.
Yeah, I don't. Well, yeah, they have their verified payment system. Like the person selling doesn't get it until it's confirmed that it's real. So that's kind of it. Provides protection to both parties, basically. With the Bonnaroo official exchange, though, the Ticketmaster one, I will say you don't get the extra goodies on that. So, like, I've known people that have bought from there to spend less on the tickets and then been very bummed out when they didn't get the extra stuff that everyone else does. So just be aware of that.
We should fill that in for everybody because we'll have a lot of first timers listening to this. So if you haven't seen it already, you don't only get your wristband and the extra little cards that tell you to go to the website or whatever. Every year, Bonnaroo sends like little toys along with the wristband. Sometimes it's something as amazing as a lunchbox. Sometimes it's not as good, but at least it's kind of cool. We have no idea what it will be this year. We never really know until people start getting them and pictures get posted. That will probably go out, like April, May, something like that, if I remember right.
Yeah, it's usually first or second week of May.
Yeah.
I do have a funny story about that.
Tell us. Uh-oh, Evan's getting something.
In 2015, they sent it in cereal boxes.
Yeah.
My friend's mom was cleaning out his bedroom, and it looked like garbage, and they threw out the whole.
Oh,
It just looks like garbage. So we drove down 15 hours not knowing whether or not he had a wristband or not. So he had to go to will call. It ended up working out nicely, but it just
Yeah,
looked like.
What was your
that's the
favorite?
other thing about buying direct, like either through the official exchange or directly from Bonnaroo, is if your wristband has a problem, then you can get it replaced.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
just
very good
go
point.
to the box office and they'll replace it. If you buy from StubHub and then 2 days in your wristband stops working because the chip gets messed up somehow, uh, you're gonna go to the box office and they're gonna be like, "What's your order number?" Like, and yeah,
I don't know, man.
yeah,
I think but if you register your wristband though, you still might get protection from that.
yeah,
So
that's true.
so I would the second you get your wristband, register it.
Yeah, good point.
So, do y'all have any other tips that you would give either a first timer or someone who just needs tips in general?
Maybe they're coming for their second one and they didn't experience everything last year.
I'll say every year as we go, there's more and more resources available. So there's InfoRoo has some good like packing lists and stuff like that. I'm sure there's a lot accumulating on Reddit. There's definitely multiple like what podcast episodes about do's and don'ts. So you can go in the back catalog of podcasts of probably you guys and what podcast, and you get a lot of tips out of that.
I think the Hamsters guys have done a couple like that too.
Sure.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of literature and a lot of material to be properly prepared. So
Yeah,
if you start early, you can go in as a knowledgeable Bonnarooian.
Some old stuff that I would look up too that still applies today is the old Bonnaroo Chris packing list. That is an evergreen thing that has applied to 20 years worth of Roo. But Caleb, any tips from you?
Yeah, I mean, basically, like he said, with the online guides, like on the Bonnaroo subreddit, Charlotte put together a great subreddit wiki that has tons of information. If you're new, read through that whole thing. Like, it'll take you 25 minutes and it will be worth it. Like lots of good tips and FAQs answered in there too. So
And I know that Bonnaroo itself is working on a number of like videos that will help out. They have this kind of sort of wiki that is on a support site that has a lot. But I mean, I'll be honest, some of it's a little outdated. I know Corey and his crew are working on getting to it. But that should be updated as we get closer with things like maps and details specific to this year. But yeah, there's a ton of stuff out there, and Charlotte has done a wonderful job organizing a lot of it on the subreddit, right?
Yeah, if we could just get people to read it.
Well, that's another thing. What's the saying? You could lead a horse to water, but it's funny that, and I'm not trying to poke too much fun at anybody, but you see the same questions pop up like almost at the same points in time every year.
But it's fine because we were all first timers once. We were all
absolutely.
Nubians, so we all need a answer.
I will say it's funny how there is like a cycle for all these things. You're going to get questions now about buying a ticket, questions like we went over today about like RVs or Sprinter vans or whatever. And then like a couple of weeks out from the actual festival, that's when you start getting questions from like the upside down pineapple people and stuff like that pop up on the Reddit.
Yeah.
That's a week out. I need a ride.
Yeah.
Or how's the police presence? Like,
No, there's always one that says like, I need a miracle. I'm in California and I need a ride.
Yeah.
Is my favorite band going to be added to the lineup?
Yeah. We're going through a lot of that right now with until the Where in the Woods lineup comes out. It's just every day there's 6 to 10 different posts. Like, is this person going to be there? It's like, we don't know. And no, that headliner level act is not going to be at Where in the Woods. Like,
you have to have at least 10 years of Bonnaroo experience to know where the Daft Punk set is going to be. And no, we're not going to tell you.
Yeah. Yeah, they're going to be opening for Cherub.
Yeah, exactly.
That was me when my first Bonnaroo.
Yeah.
I did it.
Well, guys, I think we got a lot in tonight. There is no way that we can get absolutely everything. So maybe we'll do another one of these as we get closer to June. Me and Charlotte can't thank you enough for showing up tonight, especially Evan, who pinch hit. You pinch hit with like 5 minutes notice. So we're all hoping that Maddie gets his pipe fixed at his house in Atlanta. Anything at all that you guys want to plug before we sign off for tonight?
Totem event, New York City.
Yeah, please come hang with me and Evan and Skylar and everybody up in New York next month. Again, check Totem FND on Twitter, and you can find the sign up link. Gonna be a good time. What do you recommend getting at this place, Evan? What they got that's good?
We're gonna get some pictures of sangria. I go there. I got quesadillas all the time. They have like different marinations of meats, carne asada, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Chips and salsa. They're gonna have like a little like allocated menu for us, so that's gonna be included. So, and yeah, and then maybe we could do something else afterwards.
Please, I was gonna ask. I rarely, if ever, get to come to NYC, Evan. So you got to come show me around. We got to do something good.
Yeah, I'm sure we can.
Well, Caleb, if you don't have anything to plug for yourself, do you want to like plug your favorite local Huntsville restaurant? All of them could use the business after a week under the ice.
Sure. My go-to, me and my whole group of main friends down here. Our regular hang is at the Poppy in the Parliament downtown. We pretty much go there. And we go to the bar, have drinks. Like, we know all the staff. They're great. They're very fun people. And I mean, the food is awesome. They make everything in the house. But it's a great place. So highly recommend it if you haven't tried it. It's kind of like an English pub.
Yeah. I love a good British pub. Hey, let's meet you meet over there sometime soon. I'm about to be all over the place traveling, but let's find a weekend.
Yeah, definitely. I'm down whenever. So.
Well, guys, thanks again for hanging with us and helping us answer all these questions tonight. Anything else from you, Cheryl?
No, I was going to tell them thank y'all.
Yeah, thank you, guys. Again, I'm going to mention to everybody, please go to totemfnd.org to please sign up as a mentor if you're interested in having already. And if you know of anybody that would qualify for our 2 scholarships that we're giving away, please have them sign up for that as well. There's a bit of an essay question at the end. We want it to go to somebody who is in an underprivileged situation that really wants to give something to the community, who wants to run an event or whatever it may be. It's probably something we're not even thinking about. So send them to totemfnd.org to apply for that. And everybody, if there's nothing else, I think that's it for the night. Everybody, we'll see you next week. Get out there and radiate positivity.
Yeah, thanks for having us.